Hey, welcome to my channel. Let's get one thing straight. It was definitely a I don't want to say it was misleading. It wasn't misleading, but it was more so to the point where, like, as the Mets were in that winning streak for the month of June, it got everyone's hopes up. I guess also got my hope as well too, but more so to the point where, like, we're getting to where they needed to be, which was 500. That's where I was like saying is like if they could finish 500 for the season, it's sort of a win. It's sort of a win. But you saw basically two factors. There's two factors. The fact is let's not forget the pitching is a problem. Specifically, they have no relievers, so it's not going to work out. Now, for you, those of you, is like, well, look, if we make some trades for some relievers, we might, we can get far, and we can get far. We could get into the playoffs, wild card playoffs. All right, but let's be honest. Here's the first question that we're going to say. Do you think right now, outside of the bullpen, do you think right now this Mets team can go far into the playoffs? Do you think this team can go far into the playoffs? Now, because if you think they are, then you must be willing to sacrifice some serious prospects for those relievers, because no one's going to give up relievers nowadays. Because the thing is like, unless they can find it somewhere, you're not going to find relievers cheaply, put it honestly. So if you're willing to sacrifice some of your prospects for a reliever, you're assuming that the Mets are going to go far and deep into the playoffs. Now the question is do you believe that? See, personally myself, yeah, they could possibly make the wild cards, but they're not getting far. They're not winning the pennant. Put it that way. They're not winning the pennant. Let's be honest with that. They're not winning the pennant. They could get into the NL championships, but they're not winning the pennant. Now you're going to refer to it as like, well, look, hey, the Diamondbacks last year, they barely made the playoffs and they went all the way into the World Series. Yeah, they went into the World Series, but what happened? They lost in the World Series. They lost. And the Diamondbacks, look at what they did now. They didn't really technically improve upon themselves. And look where they're at now still. So this is why I'm a little concerned. And you're like, but look, we got the hitters. If that's true, if we have the hitters, if that's true, look for the last two games against the Nationals right now. Look what happened. They had some hitting. So on Wednesday's game, yeah, they got 5 runs, but they still lost, and they couldn't score any more runs. Yesterday's game, they were shut out. This is the Nationals, the Washington Nationals. The Mets should have swept them. They should have swept them, but they didn't. And so because they didn't sweep them, this is where my concern is. And you can say, yeah, but it was the bullpen's fault. If the Mets hitting was on par, they should have scored 10 runs. It seems like they got to score 10 runs every game to win. They're not winning. They're not getting 10 runs every day. And the thing is even though the Mets hitters are good enough, they're not that great. Because defensively speaking, they suck. Let's be honest. They suck defensively. And you're going to say, well, yeah, but it's all about hitting. It's always about offense. Yes, offense helps you win those games. But defense keeps you in those games. We've got no defense. We've got nothing. We've got no pitching. We got no relieving. The Mets are prone to errors as well too on the field. They are prone to errors. Vientos, not a good third base. Defensively speaking, he's not a Gold Glover. Alonso, not a Gold Glover. McNeil, not a Gold Glover. Vientos, not a Gold Glover. Nimmo, I think maybe the closest one out there. This is why I believe, and everyone might say, it's like, well, wait, when Starling Marte comes back, maybe it might change everything at that point. I don't think it will. So let's be honest. This is not a Mets team that will go far into the playoffs. Now, I'll say this. In 2015, when they went switched to the World Series, they had no hitting, but they had pitching, some serious pitching. And that's what propelled them into the World Series. But then the Royals exploited the Mets defense. So all they had to do was put the ball on the ground, and then they could and then they were scoring those runs. And that's the reason why the Mets lost, because the infield defense as well as the outfield defense was not that great. Pitching can only get you so far, but unless these starting pitchers as well as relievers are throwing out shutouts, it's not happening. Now, yeah, you say it's like, okay, if you put in proper offense and you could score 5 runs a game, yes, from that aspect, if you could score 5 runs every game, you should be on par to at least have some aspect of winning winning a series at that point, or winning set of games. Statistically speaking, you should be able to win those games, because chances are pitchers are able to like last, but the problem is our starters can't go past 6 innings, and our bullpen's pretty much depleted. So let's let's go with that. I mean, let's be honest with that. This is not a Mets team that's going to go far. This is why I think the Mets should be sellers. They need to trade off Alonso. They need to trade off Marte. I hate to say this, but Severino is probably a guy they can get some value for, because like somewhere out there they need a pitcher, starting pitcher, and Severino fits that bill. Senga coming back, I don't think is going to help out, because unless Senga is the same person from last year, it's, I don't think we're going to see much from him at this year, basically. So I hate to say this, but the Mets need to be sellers. We need some prospects, some serious prospects back. And now we're saying like the Mets need some serious pitchers. They have to need pitchers. Now the question comes out to is like, well, Miguel. Miguel, I think, is more. He should. I hate to say this, but Miguel, he shouldn't be a starter. He should be your bullpen. He reminds me so much like a Seth Lugo and a Heilman, basically. He should be a reliever. He should be in the bullpen, because when he goes for the first 4 to 5 innings, he's really strong. But once after that, he just cliffs off. If you can get McGill as your reliever, maybe have Scott as your starter. And I hate to say this, but Peterson, I think he might be a reliever at this point as well too. Make Peterson and McGill your relievers. Bring up Budo and Scott and see how well they do. I mean, Scott seems to be showing some stuff. Bring them up and let's see what happens from that perspective. But I hate to say this, but like I think the Mets need to bring McGill and Peterson, put them both in the bullpen. Put some of the relievers back down or whatever it may be. Send them back down. Reed, I think you might have to keep him, but I hate to say this, but yeah, you've got to like trade, like switch around your starting pitching and your bullpen basically, because it's not going to work out the way it is. I mean, Peterson can give you 5 innings. If Peterson can give you 5 innings, I think he's a good reliever at that point, because you're not going to have good relief at this point. McGill, if he gives you 5 really good innings, shutout innings, I hate to say this, but like he's more of a reliever than a starting pitcher. Because now I think we need to go back to the olden days where starters could go into 8, 9 innings, sometimes complete games. It's very rare nowadays because like people, it's about managing a pitcher so that they have the longevity. But I hate to say this, but like honestly, I don't know why they're doing that. The Mets need to like start using these pitchers and like extend them out, and like we need to go back to the old days where like pitchers went and pitched into the 7th to 8th inning. Sometimes 9th inning as complete games, go over 200 pitches or 150 pitches at least, get them to 150 pitches so that will, like your bullpen stays a little fresher at that point. I mean, I hate to say this, but like none of them are like a Greg Maddux where, getting to the 8th inning with about under 110 pitches. I don't think we're going to see anyone like that. Greg Maddux was a special case. That's why he's a Hall of Famer. You won't see anyone like that at this. I don't think you will see anyone like that for quite some time. But yeah, I mean, let me know your thoughts. I would like to hear your thoughts about this. Should the Mets be sellers? I know but if you think they should be buyers, please let me know your thoughts. And do you, by that aspect, then you're thinking that the Mets can make a deep run into the playoffs, possibly winning the pennant? If you think that, all right, then let me know in the comment section. But then by that aspect, you gotta let me know then who in the Mets farm system should they give up? Because if it's the people that they got from when they traded Verlander and Scherzer, because people are going to want them basically. If they need to trade them, are you willing to like part with them, or any one of our prospects? Are you willing to part with them? That's what it comes down to. Let me know in the comment section at that point. If you like my video, like my content, like my channel, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, unedited, and of course, always unrehearsed. Until next time.